In the brand new series, The Book of Boba Fett, we learn that Boba Fett is no longer the most feared bounty hunter in the galaxy. No, he's moved on to bigger and better things. Boba has now set his sights on taking Jabba the Hutt's place as the de facto crime lord on Tatooine. He feels he can be a better crime lord than his predecessor. But, let me let you in on a little secret. He's wrong. For spending so much time around various crime lords and gangsters, Boba Fett clearly has no idea how to run a crime organization. He routinely needs Fennec and others to explain the ways of crime to him or the landscape of Mos Espa. This is done so that the audience can clearly understand why certain things are occurring on screen, but a side effect of this is that it makes Boba Fett look uneducated or stupid. A crime lord can ill afford to be either of these things. Despite criticizing Jabba the Hutt for his incompetence, Jabba was honestly an extremely successful crime lord. He was the galaxy's top gangster for decades. He forced both the Republic and Empire to respect him and his territory, so much so that both galactic governments opted not to mess with his operations too much. That is not what I'd exactly define as incompetent. No, what Boba Fett is doing feels a lot more like Bib Fortuna than Jabba the Hutt. How exactly is Boba Fett making money anyway? What is his operation currently like? The show has been extremely vague on this matter, aside from a few characters paying him tribute. Furthermore, Boba has shockingly few allies. He has no army, he doesn't even have a battalion of thugs. What he has are 2 Gamorreans, a droid, Fennec, Black Chrysanthemum, a Rancor, and 1 shiny, gleaming bald head.
Hey Boba, your head is so smooth. I want to use it as a slip and slide. Its sheen is so sparkling. I mistook it for a dolphin. Nice and slick. Yeah.
Where were we again? That's an extremely formidable team, but that is nowhere near the muscle that Boba needs to successfully steward a crime empire. In episode 4, Fennec implies that they'll hire Din Djarin. Great. But he's a temporary solution, for one, and he's just one guy, for another. But even so, Boba literally needs thousands of more employees, for lack of a better term. He needs muscle, he needs smugglers, he needs dealers, etc. This is what Boba Fett should be getting in order. Instead, it just feels like he's playing at being a crime lord, sitting pretty on his throne, in his nice big palace, mumbling about ruling with respect. Which brings me to my other point. On the surface, ruling with respect sounds like a good plan, until you pose the question, how exactly does one rule with respect? Again, let's look at Jabba the Hutt. Boba claims that Jabba ruled using fear, and that's true. It's true. I mean, it's true. Jabba would suffer no insults or betrayals. He'd have those who slighted him killed, tortured, or fed to his Rancor. This sent a clear message to all who worked for him and to all who opposed him. Next, let's look at Vito Corleone from The Godfather. There likely isn't a better example of a crime lord who rules with respect than Vito Corleone. This is because his subordinates revere him and his enemies respect him. Because Vito has done awful, fearsome things in his past, and everyone knows he could very well do them again if he needs to. There is a fine line between fear and respect in the criminal world, and these lines are often even blurred. If Boba refuses to utilize fear, then he simply won't be an effective crime lord.
No one respects you.
Enough!
I thought this scene here was showing a change in that. Boba's Rancor rattles the cage that the crime lords are dining atop of, serving as a wordless message from Boba. But then, he simply lets them walk away after they agree not to align themselves with the Pikes. This was a mistake, and again, makes Boba Fett look kind of weak. Who's to say that they won't break their word? I mean, they are gangsters after all. Boba should have fed them to his Rancor and united their organizations under his banner. He just needs to understand that fear and respect can be and should be used in tandem. I mean, Boba, buddy, if you didn't want to get your hands dirty, then maybe you should have picked a different field, my guy. Like, if you don't want to do crime, why did you become a crime lord?
I'm confused.
Again, I must echo the possibility that the show is prohibiting Boba from being more ruthless because Disney wants him to be a good guy. In that case, I really do feel for the writers of the Book of Boba Fett because their hands are pretty much tied. You cannot make a compelling gangster show about a gangster who is a pretty nice guy. Imagine if Walter White refused to ever kill anyone. Not only would Breaking Bad be a lot less interesting, but Walter White would have died by season 2.
You're goddamn right.
Imagine if Michael Corleone was a nice guy. Godfather is suddenly not very good. Mobsters and crime lords are not good people, Disney. You have to let them do bad things. If you can't handle Boba Fett being a morally complex character, then maybe you shouldn't have done a show about it.
Your Mandalorian armor makes me so hard. Your Beskar will steal my heart.